So recently I posted on the community tab here on YouTube a poll asking you guys if you wanted my next recipe video to be savory or sweet, and 100% of you voted for sweet. Yes, thank you, because I'm always down for sweet. And so thank you for those of you who participated in the poll. I appreciate you guys engaging with me, and that's one of the reasons why this Twix recipe is happening. Hello everyone, good afternoon. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm super excited because I'm going to be recreating a chocolate bar or chocolate candy bar that has been my favorite for years, ever since I was a little kid. I ate all kinds of chocolates when I was young. Didn't have a care in the world about what that meant. So as the years have gone by, I don't eat store-bought, chocolate candies, maybe rarely as an exception, which is fine. I'm okay with that. But today I'm gonna try to recreate my favorite chocolate bar, and that's a Twix. Just a regular old-fashioned Twix. I know there's other types out there. I saw in the store the other day some other type of different kind of Twix, but the original Twix. And comment down below if this happens to be your favorite candy bar as well. I just wanna know because I'm really excited, and if you do try this recipe, I'm gonna show you my version today. And I'm actually gonna be using Maria Emerich's caramel sauce, which I have made in another video. If you haven't seen that video, look for it in my channel. And if not, you can always look her up or look up the recipe, Maria Emerich's caramel sauce. It's keto caramel sauce, and it's delicious, super simple to make. And I'll also link it below under the description. Okay. So what I have in my bowl here is some almond flour. I have also some pinch of salt, pink salt right there. This right here is a little bit of xanthan gum. And this is brown sugar substitute, which today I'm using this one. It's a Lakanto monk fruit sweetener. It's the one that says golden. And this, I mean, I have different types. This is what I'm using today. I pretty much enjoy it, but if you have any other type of sugar substitute that you want to use, brown sugar, you can use that. Like I know there's a Swerve one, there's other brands, there's Truvia. I'm using that one today. And then I'm also using this almond flour, which is actually the Great Value brand from Walmart. And it works pretty good. It's super fine. And it does have a couple of lumps in there always. So anyways, I'm gonna just mix this together a little bit just to kind of get the clumps out. It doesn't really matter much in this recipe if there's a little clumps, but you wanna make sure to, just kind of do this with a tiny little whisk. All right, the next thing I'm gonna introduce here is some butter. This butter is cold. It's not frozen, but it is cold from the refrigerator, and it's 4 tablespoons, which is 1/4 of a cup, I believe. And if I can pick this up, actually, let's do this. My hands are clean, I promise. And you want these to be cold, okay, as cold as possible. They don't have to be frozen, but the butter does have to be cold. Okay, there we go. So it's like when you're making like a pie crust that it asks for your butter to be really cold. I cut it up in small pieces, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and incorporate it. I probably will have to use my hand. Oh, hang on, I'm gonna add a little bit of vanilla extract as well. I have this vanilla. By the way, you guys, vanilla is so expensive now. I really need to buy my vanilla beans online. I'm gonna try that and make my own vanilla like I usually do. And then I have this organic vanilla bean paste that I bought a while back at Trader Joe's. I'm not too impressed by it. I mean, it's thick. It's a paste, but I don't really taste a lot of the vanilla. But I'm using it because, it's vanilla and I bought it. So I may use that instead of the other one. So I'm gonna use this tool, which I actually forgot I had. I've never used it. I'm super excited to use it. And it's just to kind of, mix this butter really well into my dry ingredients. And if you don't have this, you can just use a fork, you guys, or your hands, okay? So let me get at that and I'll show you. So this works pretty well. I mean, the butter is cold, and that's what you want it to be. So I'm sure I'm gonna end up using my hands here in a moment. in a little bit. But the idea is to incorporate this so that it ends up being like, you know, like little tiny crumbs into the mixture. All right, and I'm gonna add the vanilla before I forget. I'm gonna go ahead and use the rest of the vanilla paste that I showed you. And it's really, really thick. And so that's why I was so excited when I first bought it. I was like, oh my God, it smells amazing. It's gonna be delicious. And if it ever comes out, whatever's left. And in the meantime, you guys, you want to have your oven preheated to 325 degrees. And here's a tip when you're cooking with almond flour, especially when you're doing something like this where there's not like, you know, eggs or any other liquid or anything. Almond flour can burn very quickly because of course it's a nut. Oh, there it is, it's coming. Oh, come on. So you want to preferably cook something like this at low temperature. If your oven runs kind of hot, if you know that your oven runs hotter than usual, then maybe do it at 300 degrees. And this is probably gonna take about 12 to 15 minutes. Wow, I need to get the rest of this out of here. Okay, you guys, so I hope you can see this well. I'm actually using this new setup that was donated to me as a stand, and it allows me to take this kind of shots. I'm so excited. It was actually donated to me by one of my subscribers and friends. Thank you very much. You know who you are. So I'm trying this out. I'm sure I'll get better at it as it goes. So this is what it looks like after I have incorporated the butter into the dry ingredients. So it's like almost like a crust, right? That you can probably use this and press it down into a pie crust if you wanted to do that. But anywho, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead, and it almost looks like wet sand, and it feels like wet sand, but it comes together like this. All right, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna transfer it into this pan right here that has a silicone, show you, has a silicone non-stick. If you don't have this, you can use parchment paper, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to keep it into some type of, make it into some type of rectangular shape, because we all know that Twix candies are like long little rectangular shapes. So, I mean, I'm not trying to be perfection, but I wanna keep it, I wanna try to make it as similar as possible. So I will do that and show it to you. So let me see, maybe this will help me a little bit. And I wanna try to keep it as uniform as possible so that all of my Twix candies, when I actually cut them into this way or that way, whichever size I decide, that they are nice and even. They have like an even cookie crust. Oh my God, I can't wait. Alrighty. This may be as even as it gets, but I'm gonna try to shape it. And if you don't have the caramel that you're gonna use, you're gonna wanna make it ahead of time, or at least like the same day, but just to, you know, let it set a little bit, because it will set the caramel before you get ready to put it on top of this once it's baked, because that's gonna be the second part. All right, so that looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the oven. Again, I'm preheated 325. If your oven runs too hot and you know it, maybe bake it at like 300 degrees. And we're just looking for this to be lightly baked. It doesn't have to be like browned up or anything, just lightly baked, but to make sure that it is baked. All right, let's go. The other days I was at Walmart, and I have been thinking about eating a Twix for so long. You know, I had been like, oh man, I really, you know, I love Twix. One day I'm gonna eat another, one day I'm gonna just eat one, because I just wanna go back to my childhood, to my, you know, when I used to, reminds me of my comfort days when I was young and I could eat whatever I wanted and I didn't have to care about it or think about how it affected me. And so about 2 weeks ago, yeah, about 2, maybe 3 weeks ago, I decided to get one. And I couldn't wait to get home. I ate it in the car, okay, as I was driving home. And I was expecting to get this, like, you know, oh my God, like this. Now I remember, this is why I love, this is delicious. It was the same, I got the regular one. I saw there was other types of Twix, I guess they're doing now. One that has like, I think it was like pretzels or something, I don't know. I got the original one, the one that I always used to eat. And I ate it, I just ate it in the car, driving home. And oddly enough, I couldn't connect to the taste how I did when I used to eat it for years, okay? It was good. I didn't stop eating it. It wasn't like, oh, I'm not gonna eat this Twix now that it doesn't taste what I thought, you know, it doesn't taste to me how it did when I used to eat it for years. I ate it because, I mean, I was committed, okay? I was committed to eating that Twix and I was okay with that. I basically, you know, it was like something that I was planning to do for a while and it's not something that I do all the time. I probably won't eat another Twix like that for who knows how long. And oddly enough, I didn't get that feeling that I thought I was gonna get. I mean, it was delicious. I found it very, very sugary. I was like, was this always this sweet? I felt like maybe the chocolate layering of it, I believe it is milk chocolate. It just was like really sweet. I ate it. I mean, I indulged in it and I'm not sorry about it. I'm not going to, you know, feel bad about it. But that made me even more want to recreate a Twix that I can actually eat more often and know that, you know, that it's probably gonna be tastier to me because now for years now, I don't really eat milk chocolate. I learned how to eat dark chocolate and I love dark chocolate. I mean, the darker, the better. So I was craving that Twix for I don't know how long. It's not the same most of the time. I'm not gonna say every time. But for me, that was the experience with the Twix. And so that's why this recipe, you know, I really wanted to make this video and I really wanted to make this Twix. And I'm totally winging it, okay? I have notes written down from the years ago when I tried to recreate it. I mean, I don't remember what happened, but I guess I didn't experiment with it enough. And I think it was the caramel layer that was giving me issues where I wasn't getting that actual caramel consistency and taste that I wanted. So I left it alone, but I did have the notes. I do have the notes written down in an old notebook, which is where I write down when I experiment with recipes. And I decided to pick up on that and try this again. So, all right. So our cookie bottom of the Twix first layer is done. And as you can see, it got a little bit toastier on the sides, and that's why I recommend to bake it at a lower temperature. That's actually okay. It actually smells delicious. It smells like a sugar cookie. So this probably could be a good sugar cookie recipe. So I'm just gonna let it cool for a little bit, and I'm gonna, once it's cool to the touch, I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator, because this is actually gonna be something that you're gonna, you know, it's gonna have to set, okay? And so yeah, we're gonna go ahead and let this just cool down. It starts hardening right away as soon as you take it out of the oven, and then we'll move on to the next step. Try it again. This may or may not work. It's still a little bit big, but I think I can fit it in. There you go. There you go. So it's a little bit, just a little shy. I'm just gonna do this to it so that it doesn't completely rupture in half. There you go. And it's okay to have the extra sides there. It's all gonna come together because the caramel layer is coming next, okay? And so here's the little discards that I'm gonna nibble on later. And here's the bottom of the Twix, okay? The cookie layer. And So if you don't have your caramel already done, you can put this away. Just put it in the freezer, in the refrigerator. It's already set. And as while you make your caramel, and you're gonna want to let your caramel cool a little bit before you spread it on here, and that's what we're gonna do next. Okay, you guys, so let me show you this caramel. Oh my God. I made it about, I don't know, maybe an hour ago. And this is just half of the recipe from Maria Emerich's caramel. I only make half batches because it makes a lot. But it does keep in the fridge for like ever. So it's still, see the consistency is still liquidy, but it's not, you know, it's starting to set. It was in the fridge. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drizzle it on top of my cookie base. Oh my goodness. I don't know why I'm using this tablespoon. It's not like I can't just do this. Ooh, look at that. And as it sets, the color of the caramel is going to change. It's gonna get, this is still kind of like liquidy looking. I'm trying not to get like outside of the cookie. But since we have this container or this pan, that's essentially gonna be the size of the cookie bar. And it will harden in the fridge. It's okay to have it. So you're gonna layer this as much caramel as you want. And we can actually come back to that if we wanted more caramel. So we're gonna let this sit. So this was about a cup that I have. This is a cup, a little bit over a cup. I just drizzled half of it. And I'm going to do this extra step. I have some pink Himalayan salt, and because I find that the caramel is very, very sweet, which is fine, that's the purpose. I'm gonna go ahead and just put a little bit of this sea salt on top for contrast. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this in the refrigerator, and I don't know, maybe leave it for about an hour. And if I feel like I want more caramel, I will do another layer of caramel. Okay, the third layer of this Twix candy, I'm gonna be using this chocolate. This is a dark chocolate bar. It is dark chocolate. I know that Twix is probably a milk chocolate, but I prefer dark chocolate, so I'm gonna use this. You can use whatever chocolate you want. And this is a 3.5 ounce bar. And that's what I have right here. So I'm just going to be cutting it up here randomly. So I'm gonna melt this in the microwave with a little bit of coconut oil. And this is gonna be our last layer to our candy bar. I know there's a lot of different brands of dark chocolate out there. I mean, milk chocolate. Just remember that the darker the content, the darker, the higher the percentage of cocoa. You know, like 85%, 90%. They even have a 100% one. The 100% one has like no sugar at all. But I like to go with something like this at 85%. You do what you guys, you know, prefer to do. It's gonna be your Twix bar. This is my Twix bar. So I'm just trying to get it into fairly even pieces. And then I'm gonna use this coconut oil that I have. I'm gonna try about, this is a half of a tablespoon, frozen, or, you know, it's set as a caramel, okay? And so here's my chocolate that I melted with the coconut oil. I did 2 30-second intervals. So 30 seconds in the microwave, I stirred it a little bit, and then I put it back in there for 30 seconds, stirred it again, and maybe like another 10 seconds, and then here we have it. So this is going on top of this. And this will set in the fridge as well. So here goes our last layer. Just want to make sure it's completely combined. And let's do this. Oops. left behind. But that's okay. I'm just going to make sure it goes all the way to the sides, but there's more chocolate. And so this is the best way to do it, I think, before it starts setting too much. And this parchment paper thing is such a great idea because it's going to help us take it out later. I just want to make sure I'm covering all of the caramel as evenly as possible. Yep, my goodness, this looks so good. And I'm gonna go in again with a little bit of the sea salt, not sea salt, I'm sorry, the pink salt. Because that's what I like. This is my Twix, you guys, again, remember, my Twix, my version. You don't have to use the salt. I love it. I always love a little bit of salt in my desserts, especially when it comes to caramel. And if you use that caramel, Maria Emerich's recipe, it's so rich that you really are gonna want a little bit of salt, okay? So I'm gonna set it in the fridge, set it and forget it in the fridge until it sets. I want it to set completely all the way through. I mean, I guess I can put it in the freezer, but it doesn't matter, freezer or refrigerator. Just leave it in there until it sets, and then we will cut into these and see the results. And do a cut, and I don't know, maybe like this. And the chocolate will probably crack somewhere. Oh, it didn't crack. A little bit yesterday it did. So I guess this would be the size, I don't know, let's do two bars. Oh, it's gonna crack. And the chocolate is obviously hardened in the fridge, and that's why it's made like a magic shell. Look at this, you guys. Look at this. I've already tried it. I already know what it tastes like. If you can see the caramel layer, it's kind of thin. So again, if I would have made it in a smaller container, like maybe a loaf pan, like a bread loaf pan, then it would have been thicker layers, okay? But the taste is amazing. Does it taste like a Twix? No, it does not taste like a Twix, but it definitely tastes like a candy bar that can replace a Twix. Look at that. I love the fact that I can see the 3 layers, and the crunchy layer is definitely the thickest one, but I'm okay with that. And by the way, for those of you who may be wondering, or maybe don't want to use almond flour, or maybe you're allergic to almonds, I do have another crust recipe using coconut flour, and I'm actually going to show you. I made this one because I wanted to, test out the coconut flour one. And I didn't put any chocolate over this one. I actually just did caramel, and I chopped up some pistachios and some almonds that I had soaked and roasted in the oven. And so looks pretty good. I guess you could always put chocolate on top. I wanted to leave this one like that because my husband's not really a fan of chocolate or dark chocolate. So I wanted to leave this one like that, and I've already tasted this one as well. And it's pretty good. It's just gonna be, it's not as flavorful for me without the chocolate, but this is definitely another alternative, and just wanted to let you guys know that there's a choice for, here's the bottom of the coconut crust, coconut cookie part of it. And I kind of like things about both of these. I like, for this one, the original one, I like the crunchiness of the almond flour base, and because it gives me more of a cookie feel, the texture. But at the same time, when I tasted this one looks like it stays together more for some reason. I don't know. It's just a totally different recipe. And I will add that option as a ingredients. I'm gonna put it under the description. I'll list this recipe, and then I'll go ahead and list the ingredients for the coconut flour base in case you guys want to try that. It's also amazing. So I say overall it's been successful. It's been a successful recipe, and now I know for the future if I want to make them actually thicker, I just use a narrower pan. But oh my god, these are delicious. All right, you guys, well, I hope you try it. If you do try the recipe, let me know how you like it.